Hello, everyone. Before we get started, we have to pay the bills real quick. So, I would like to tell you about Anchor. Anchor is your free all in one podcast application. With Anchor, you have creation tools built in to record and edit your episodes straight from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute the podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple, and many other platforms. It even lets you monetize your podcast with no minimum listenership. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now. We use it, and so can you. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Welcome to Going 19, episode 36. Today we are continuing our discussion of Salem's Lot, part 2, The Emperor of Ice Cream. With me are Ed and Allie, and I'm Amber. And let's start the show.
Hello.
Um. Okay. I don't even remember where I was in the middle of a rant. I think but I forgot what it was. It was actually rolling there for a second. So. Floyd dies in the hospital.
In jail.
In jail. Oh right. The guy's like staring at him and he's like wants to poke him with a stick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Like, oh man, I wish I hadn't touched him.
Yeah, I don't feel like that guy's a very good cop. But,
Yeah.
I
think he's a better cop than the other one.
When did Parkins become a believer? Because when he comes in and the guy's poking him with a stick and he's like, what are you doing? And the guy, like, as soon as he finds out he's dead, he just says,
You wished you hadn't touched him.
yeah, Parkins looked as if someone scared the bejesus out of him.
I mean, I think that's just a natural reaction for like a lot of people. I don't know. Like, well, especially it doesn't even have to be a believer in like vampirism, but if somebody keels over dead in a jail cell, you don't know why.
It could be like the stand,
Right.
Captain Trips.
Right. Well, not really, because that didn't matter, but
Yeah. Well,
that wasn't contagious. That was like you die or you don't.
well, it's contagious, but its effects are pretty extreme. But you catch it from someone else. Anyway. Yeah, I guess. But like I said, these people kind of spend the first, half not believing, and then all of a sudden, yeah, because Parker looks like he believes. Well, I guess he knows there's something going on that's not right.
I
Maybe
mean,
right.
he's the one that's been responding to a lot of these, like, hey, this person just randomly died. So I'm sure he realizes how many deaths are actually happening and that that's not normal for the lot.
Yeah, I don't.
Was Reggie Sawyer like turned? Was he sick? I couldn't remember when he came home to his cheating wife.
I don't think it's said.
Was he sick?
Like, was he turning or a vampire? I could not remember.
No, I think
I
he was
don't.
just a mad Midman. Wait, did we get to him yet?
Well, we're technically past anything.
Did we do that scene?
I don't. I mean, we haven't touched on it thus far.
No. I mean, was that in this section?
It is, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Why did that end? Like somebody got vampired out of that. Isn't that how that ended?
Yeah,
Yes.
what the kid did.
Corey.
Corey, yeah. Corey Bryant.
So he caught them, made him stick a gun in his mouth, told her to shut up. And then what happened?
Well, and then told him to leave town and never come back.
Right. Okay.
So he was on his way to his house when Barlow intercepted
He got vampired. And Barlow's like, man, fuck that guy. I'll watch this.
Well, so that was my question. Was like, is Reggie wasn't also turning, right? Is like that just a tactic where it's like you're turning everybody? Like,
No, I don't think Reggie was turning. I think Reggie had just found out that his wife was cheating on him.
okay,
And he
yeah.
was pissed. And
Yeah.
now I think that now that Corey is all vampified, he'll probably go kill both of them.
Yeah.
You gotta have a food source.
Yep.
Yeah.
What? Wait, so Reggie I forget. God damn it.
Corey Bryant sank into a great forgetful river, and that river was time, and its waters were red.
Yeah, what does that mean?
He's a vampire.
Well, I mean, right. The sank into a forgetful river, and the river was time. What does that have to do with getting your blood drained? I don't know. Was he seeing visions or something?
Becoming immortal?
Yeah, I think it was more of like, don't worry about your problems. You're now immortal, and you can take care of everything
Okay. You have
with
all the
bloodshed.
time you need.
Yeah.
I like if they go to the dump and it's closed. The two drunk guys. Virgil's so drunk wasn't even sure what.
That's who I was talking about. They're the ones that see. I mean, Callahan also goes, but they're the ones that break down the fence and they notice that all the rats are gone, and they notice that like the inside of his shack is pristine but smells awful. Like,
Yeah. Well, and that
Yeah.
they were trying to find him and the door was locked, but it was locked from the inside. So it's not like
yeah,
he left and locked it behind him.
Oh, right, the old closed room. This is Saturday, ain't it? Sure is, Virgil Rathburn said. Virgil had no idea if it was Saturday or Tuesday.
yeah.
He was so drunk he wasn't even sure what month it was. Good God.
And they're driving.
Yeah, how does Virgil stand up straight?
Not well.
You can kind of tell, like, I don't know. This is like his first real book.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of drinking and sexual things, references, I guess you'd say. A lot of people drink, a lot of people smoke too.
Yeah.
So I think he was still smoking.
But I also feel like that was just also then.
I guess everybody did smoke in the 70s.
Yeah.
This is what, 75? Right? That's crazy.
Almost 50 years ago.
Yeah. There's, what did you say? There's youth, middle age, and how the fuck did I get so old? I think I'm somewhere in between the last two. Yeah, 75. Crazy. That is before so many things.
Yeah, you can tell too. It feels like a first draft for like it almost.
Yeah, it feels like a practice for a bigger, better book.
hmm
No, I mean, I don't mean that I don't like it.
No, but it's just like we've read enough, you can tell.
Yeah. Some of the people, they're just dead ends. I find out all this stuff about him, and then
Yeah, but I also think of The Stand, like I kind of like it just because it's like, don't forget, like things happen in life. Sometimes there are terrible people and they have terrible thoughts and do terrible things. And there's no reason, and you don't really get any resolution, and that's it. And sometimes you meet people and then they die, and that's it. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's definitely part of his storytelling is them living their normal lives, and then the shit hits the fan in the middle of it.
yeah.
And I think that's a premise of every book. He builds up what they would normally be doing, and then he tears it all away. Yeah, so no rats. There's goals though. I guess vampires can't catch goals, huh? I feel like
Fly though, so you think they could?
Doug's eating a lot of rats, huh? Yeah, there was one scene. Yeah, how did Doug get out of there, by the way? Did he turn into a bat or something? Are these bat vampires?
He's probably still in there somewhere. They didn't like investigate the whole thing. Like,
He might be what's smelling.
right. Well, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but Barlow turned him.
Right. And it was daytime still. He couldn't come out yet.
Oh, why would he be smelling? Just because he's dead?
That's just like a vampire thing. It seems to be. No, they all smell.
Oh, like rotten.
It's like a death decay. Yeah. Like,
Oh, yeah. Well, that was on their breath. I didn't realize they were emanating.
is that the same? Remember in the beginning when that guys dropped off the thing? And they said the same thing. There was an awful smell down there.
Yeah, like I do remember that, but I mean, I figured that was because the coffin had dirt and earth in it. I don't think I didn't think everybody's walking around with that.
No, I thought they were talking about the basement.
They were talking about the basement at this point, but I remember in the section with them confronting Marjorie Glick that they said her mouth opened and it smelled like
Oh yeah,
grave and decay and rot.
I feel like Bonnie Sawyer was asking to get caught. Like I could almost feel that coming. Or maybe just
It's almost
because,
like he wrote it that way.
yeah, maybe because it's a Stephen King book. He just knew this affair was not going to end well. A lot of his people have affairs.
I think a lot of people have affairs.
Well, I mean, true. Hopefully, I don't think they ever dealt with any of
Oh yeah, no, that's not what I meant.
that.
I just think he know. Well, I mean,
Well, it makes for a good storyline building up to the shit hitting the fan. Like that's what Cujo is.
yeah.
He finds out she's cheating on him in the first half of the book with all emotions and then they get stuck in the car. Allie, you read Cujo?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, so I can talk about that one. Have you read that?
I
Amy?
don't know why I ever chose to read that book, but yes.
Yeah, you of all people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I used to call a Stephen King ending. And then what that meant got weird and different.
Huh.
It used to mean it's not a happy ending, and it's not going to be.
I mean, yeah.
Now it means he has no idea what the hell he's doing, and it's over. So, seems to have developed a reputation of not being able to do an ending. His last couple books haven't. Well, maybe not his last couple. I guess I'm going back 10 years, 15 years. Yeah. What were our examples? Under the Dome.
The Stand.
Yeah, the Stand still makes me mad.
I mean, I've come to respect it more now, but definitely had problems with the ending to the tower.
The Towers. I'm not going to say too much about that.
Yeah.
Um,
But one thing I was gonna say, oh my god, I just lost my thought. Sorry.
I like how Reggie fucking dry fires the shotgun in the guy's mouth. Like, ooh.
Oh, we often are put in the mindset of people that I would not imagine that Stephen, like a person that I don't think he is. So he is very much able to see into human psyche, basically.
Yeah, he's like, now what if it was me doing this thing?
Right.
Yeah. He's able to put himself in the mind of like other monsters. Not other monsters, but people that are monsters. Yeah, so Corey gets a shotgun in his mouth and he actually pulls the trigger in his mouth, which I can't imagine is a good feeling.
No.
And then he walks down the road and out of the bushes he hears, "Hello, Mr. Bryan."
Yeah,
I was
like, what?
I think I'd scream too.
I mean, it's a good thing they have that like coercive power or whatever you call it, persuasion.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you'd be like, get away from me.
We're like, not right now, buddy. I don't know who you are, what you want, but I don't have time for it. I gotta get out of town. He's dragging. Corey had a Dago cigarette. Okay, I know what the slang is for. I don't know what that means at all. That's what they,
No idea.
that's like derogatory for Italians, if I have it right. So, what's an Italian cigarette?
I figured it was a brand.
Yeah, but it's not capitalized. That's why I didn't think it was.
I don't know.
Or a certain type of tobacco or something.
Maybe. Hopefully, I'm wrong. But
Like a
it's definitely a slang that was like used at that time. Like when I was a kid, I remember people used to say that, but I haven't heard it in a long time. So anyway, moving on. So Barlow gets Corey. Where am I at? Yeah, the Reggie Sawyer and Bonnie Sawyer is shorter than I remember to be. It's kind of over and above.
Well, Barlow definitely is the one that found the town because he says right here, I might have bypassed such a rustic community as this.
Yeah, well, or did Hubie tell him about the town? Did he know Hubie like before the Marstoners?
So the way I see it is that Hubie Marston was there and somehow Barlow was going through town, like he says, and he met. But back then he was reckon or met his assistant, and then that's how the vampirism came then. Like they brought it in to Marsden.
Oh, maybe.
Who reached out to who though? Like, how do they know each other?
I mean, again, it just says, I might have bypassed such a rustic community as this. I might have gone to one of your great cities. Basically talks about how cities are awful and
Yeah, I think
not safe.
I think that's him trying to justify why he didn't just go to New York City and make the whole like New York City vampires instead of a little rinky-dink town. I think he's trying to justify not doing that. Because that was my first question. If you're going to do it, if you need an army of vampires, what are you doing in Salem's Lot?
Well, but you don't, I mean, if you're trying to avoid detection for as long as possible, you start small. You don't start big.
Blitzkrieg, man.
Honestly, though, I like this is what I was saying before. I think you'd have a much easier time in a city. Like in a small town, you're gonna notice if half the town has disappeared.
Yeah, but if you completely wipe the town off the face of the state
Yeah.
and no one outside of it knew what happened or nor really cared.
Yeah, well, you could probably have the town all be vampires and nobody know if it was rural enough. I hate that word. But at the same time, you could go to a big city and have 1 million vampires overnight. And then if anybody knew, who cares? There's nothing they can do.
Yeah, but we don't know what the goal is.
Yeah, it goes back to that. What's the end game for Barlow? Why now? I don't think we have answers for that. I don't think there are answers to that. Well, maybe in Callahan's Further Adventures, there's a little bit of. I wonder if those are Barlow's vampires that Callahan was chasing. Does he say?
What did you say?
That's a different. We need to stop talking about Callahan in other books because she hasn't read it yet. We keep drifting down that road, so I apologize.
Eventually, we'll get there.
I think we might have to do it next. Just get it out of the way. All right, we'll talk about that. We were going to do a non-Stephen King, I think, next week. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good
We
idea.
can talk about it.
There's like pages that I read without my highlighter or my pen.
So I went back to read real quick at the beginning the newspaper article where it talks about what happened to Salem's Lot. And it's interesting that there are some people, according to this, that are still alive. They're just relocated and refusing. What does it say there? What's mystifying about these found people is their unanimous unwillingness or inability to talk about Jerusalem's Lot and what, if anything, might have happened there.
I think they'd tell the world.
So they mentioned Parkins Gillespie.
Wow.
Charles James, owner of a gas station, Pauline Dickens, and Rhoda Curlis. Whatever that is.
They were from the lot, but not in the lot.
They were, yeah. They haven't disappeared in the real sense of the word at all, is what it says.
So.
Oh yeah, Parkins Gillespie looked at a reporter, lit a cigarette, and said, "I just decided to leave."
See, he believes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else happened.
That sounds like people who ran for their lives.
Yeah.
And don't want to say anything to bring it, coming after them.
Well, don't want to say anything to avoid any potential bad ramifications, but also knowing that, the things that they could say, they would sound absolutely insane and would just be thrown in a nut house.
Yeah, why risk it?
Yeah.
Because, nobody's going to believe you, and except for the people that you don't want to know where you are.
Exactly.
Like I wrote Vampire Baby.
I wrote that too.
Love it. I wish I saw the Vampire Baby. Is his grave empty? I don't remember.
No, they were stolen. His body was stolen, remember? From the morgue.
Oh, yeah.
Quote unquote stolen.
Well, wait, whatever. Right. Walked out.
The scene with Danny
walked out.
outside Mark's window, I remember from
1979 movie that I watched when I was like 10. And that was like, I think, the source of my nightmares for the next like 2 years.
It's a pretty terrible.
Yeah, I still remember. I could picture it. I mean, I just watched it, but it actually existed much better in my memory than it was when I watched it again the other day.
Danny didn't die from that, right? He was just injured, like being vanquished.
From what? When he kicked him out?
When he
No, he's not.
Yeah,
I don't think. Oh, I did assume that he was.
when he crossed him, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
no, he used the army thing, didn't he? Or was that what that
It
was?
was like
Oh yeah.
two tongue compressors, and they tied it together in a cross with like medical tape or something.
No, the first time he
talking about
grabbed.
microfilm.
What'd you say?
Never mind, doesn't matter. Remember the first time he grabbed? It was like his part of his play set.
Mm-hmm.
There was a cross.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Mark grabbed his toy cross, and Ben was the one that made the tongue depressor cross, and like blessed it or something.
Oh yeah, whatever that was. I'm like, well, I'd be screwed because I don't know prayer.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I know the
Our Father.
Our Father who art in heaven, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I feel like I need a stronger one than that at that point. If I'm gonna go all in on prayer, I need something besides the standard. I need like the deep corner back of the Bible section.
I think I said like it's really like it's time in my head to take all of the religious part of it out of the vampire lore because it's really harder for me to believe in vampires if I have to believe that they're connected to God.
That's fair.
And I don't think they really are anymore.
Yeah.
And rices aren't really. There's no crosses on
But
it.
the cross, I don't know. I didn't read vampires.
Oh yeah. I don't think so. Sunlight is definitely a thing, but I think that's always a thing, right?
So I was like, I get the holy water and the cross, but like to me, that feels much more of a strictly demonic exorcism type ritual. And it's like the garlic and the stake through the heart and whatever. Like,
but I think that was the lore at the time.
right. That's what I'm saying. Can we cut out the religious part now?
Oh, well,
Well, we effectively have in modern stuff.
I kind of floats out the window and then just like it's like come here, and you can't say no even if you want to. Yet he seems to always. He like what did he do? He grabbed some. Oh, he grabbed the cross off the table, so he couldn't stop from walking over there, but he could kind of do whatever he wanted.
It's weird. Well, I mean, that's like
It's that vampire hypnotism thing.
Yeah.
The rules are very vague.
Well, at least he recognized enough to be like, "Don't look it in the eye."
Yeah, that was pretty smart. I was I didn't know he knew all that. Well, I guess he learned the hard way.
It's so funny. I think you can really tell how like horror is everywhere and in everything today. But like the fact that he is like the outlier for being the vampire expert and the monster movie expert, and like you're the only kid that knows that. Like really?
Nobody else is. They didn't. He wasn't considered a real writer because he was writing about this. I don't know what you people are talking about.
Now it just feels like growing up, it was like it feels like a part of history. Like you learn about this stuff in everything.
Yeah, it's definitely more part of pop culture than it used to be. He was the only one writing this. Maybe John Saul and I think Dean Koontz was coming around the corner, but it wasn't. It isn't what it is today.
Bram
Stoker.
Yeah.
He was about 100 years before that.
Yeah.
He was like a one and done. Nothing else was that good.
Did you see the thrust his fists against the post?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a longer version, wasn't it? That was like part of a longer poem in that one.
Yeah, actually, you're right. I did catch that, but I didn't realize that. I thought it was two separate statements, but they are connected. Well, the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. In vain, he thrusts his fists against the posts and still insists he sees the ghost.
Yeah.
I think it goes together.
I didn't realize that was one complete thought.
Yeah.
Well, either way, it's cool. He definitely, there's there's a Patrick Huckster effect to some of his writings.
Oh, where it carries over. Well, I mean,
They get reused until they can't.
it's also like it's not like he wrote like 5 books, so
I think that must be why he must have like struggled for names, because he talks about the dead don't complain. He used to walk through Mount Hope Cemetery and look at the gravestones and pull names off of there.
Mhm.
So he must have had like a real hard time with people's names.
I mean, to be honest, it's actually a really genius idea because I have a hard time like names. I don't want it to sound made up, but I don't want it to sound boring either.
Right. Would be unique but not stupid.
Right.
But yeah, you don't want Bill Smith.
So cemetery is a great place to like you pick one, match it with that one. Like,
But then you have to have some, Tom Jones is in there to,
oh yeah,
because there's going to be some.
Ben Mears.
Yeah. It's all right. What's the one? I think what's Ben's last name in it? Hanscom. Yeah, I don't like that name.
Yeah.
And Roland Deschain. Yeah, that. Nope, I don't think so.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
shame.
so annoying.
Anyway, that's Dark Tower again. I forget what my point was. So I guess I'm at the part where Matt has a random heart attack.
Not random. It
Well-
was brought on by intense shock.
Shock and trauma.
Well, yeah, I guess it's not random. I guess it's definitely stress related. So we got like a 12-year-old.
Oh, well,
Uh,
Richie is 11. So I don't know if Mark is also 11 or younger, but
Okay, maybe he's 10. I don't know. They're always younger in the book. I don't remember how old Martha's supposed to be.
I forgot I meant to say that. So I don't know. I thought he was 12 too.
All right, so we got a 10-year-old, an old guy that just had a heart attack, and
And a writer.
a
The
writer,
savior of them all.
a writer who's currently missing, who I guess is our protagonist.
Yeah.
So it's not looking good for the A team, right?
Isn't that kind of the goal of the vampires?
Well, I meant like who are we rooting for now? Because I don't think they're not looking too good.
Yeah, I mean we can still root for them, but they're not gonna win.
The only winning is escape.
Yeah, see, that's the question for the prologue. Did they escape or did they win? Because they're definitely checking the papers. I think they killed them, but obviously they didn't. The beginning confuses me because, like, do they go back now?
I still don't understand why they feel responsible. Like, if other people have left and not looked back, why don't you do the same? Like, why is it your problem? You
So-
didn't bring it to that town.
So Susan's death was not in vain.
Probably
I-
something having to do with her.
I don't think that's Ben. I think that's, well, I guess not.
I
I thought that was Callahan.
Susan?
No, the man traveling. He's a writer. He's a writer. Never mind. You're right. Okay. Right. We established that's probably Ben. Okay.
What are you talking
Nothing. I forgot what I just said.
Yeah, I don't know who.
I don't think he cares about. I mean, no offense, but like he barely knows her.
That's what I was going to say. He doesn't even really know. I don't think. Have they met?
He's still grieving his wife.
Well,
That's about-
they know each other to the point that they hooked up
Yeah,
and were
yeah,
saying,
they're
"I love you."
They did say "I love you." Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they do that real easy in Stephen King books.
Again, it's the thing of like we don't get anything, so it's just like feels fake. Doesn't feel like a real love story.
It's a Susan thing.
Yeah. No.
Because the female character is not fleshed out.
Well, this is one of his first cracks at it. So, I mean, it got through the Tabby filter.
This is honestly like not nearly as bad as Susanna because she had 8 books, but
She had a
well,
lot more problems, too.
I guess she had fewer than 8, but still.
I would say she was a much more developed character, but I still hate her.
Yeah, what does that say? He gave her all of the problems, the mental ones
Yeah,
too.
well, Eddie had, she was the only one with a permanent problem, I guess, which is why, anyway, we gotta stop doing it. I like how I had to go to the library to do research. Like, wow.
Yeah, I wasn't really following the whole. They're like, well, call the librarian and have him send all the books down
Because
here.
that's how you did it.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, but then like I also was like, I don't care. Like, are you what? Just tell me you're researching vampires. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think he was trying to make a statement of how they were doing it. That's just the way it was done at the time.
no, I know. It just feels. I mean, it's typical Stephen King. So much fluff. Like,
Say that like it's bad.
let me go into a flashback about the library.
Well, um, maybe there's a little too much fluff sometimes, but I'll take the fluff. The fluff is what makes it. Either you connect or you don't. Did you see Brad Campion?
No.
I'm wondering if he's related to Charles Campion, who broke out of the research facility with the baby.
Oh,
Uh,
but that was in what? New Mexico,
California.
California.
I was just reusing a name. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so Matt sends Ben to Father Callahan. Does Callahan?
It's funny to me that Ben got the crap beat out of him, and Matt had a heart attack. I mean, I guess it's still
That's what I'm
serious,
saying. Like,
but like,
our protagonist team is leaving much to be desired at the moment.
well, I was more thinking that like Ben is still the one in much better shape here, and I'm like, dude.
Well, he is. I mean,
I know. I keep stopping because I'm like, a heart attack is a big deal. It's not like you just have it and then you get up the next day and you're fine.
they did. What did he say? Minor league heart attack. No clot form.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
What are you even doing here? Go home.
like, I don't want to say that's how I feel, but like,
Go eat a steak, man. You and your fake ailment. You just did that because he got beat up.
Matt is like, okay, sorry, I'm out. So you're gonna have to tag in now. Your turn. You do everything.
Right. I got the books and I did the research. As far as actually going to the Marston house,
I don't want to see anything else ever again in my life. No, thank you.
I like how they like manage. Everyone believes that they're vampires at some point in the conversation, with just like the power of him telling them they are.
I mean,
Like once again, I have to get these people to believe with no evidence.
well, I do like the conversation that Ben and Susan have a little while back, where it's just like trying to like knock out all of the possibilities and trying to work through it. Because I'm like, that is definitely how I would be if I felt, even if I felt within my gut that I knew it was something like a vampire, I would have to logically rule everything else out. Like,
I would probably not believe for a second and march my ass right up to the front door of that Marston house.
oh, that's not me. I do not test
Ring the
things.
damn doorbell at like 7 a.m.
And you would be Susan.
Susan, maybe. Well, right, because I wouldn't believe. I would have to see for myself.
My problem is I don't believe a lot, but I believe enough.
He's a just in case belief.
Yeah.
I don't believe him. But
In case it's real.
I'm not going to take that chance. Aspirin is very close in chemical composition to LSD.
This guy loves aspirin. Was definitely his best friend. I don't doubt that.
Well, is that Aston? Oh, them hangovers.
Yeah.
He talks a lot about. You can almost tell his life habits by what's going on in the book.
Well, I think the more books by him that I read, the easier it is to pick up on. It's kind of like a timeline of his life in a way. Like you can tell where he was at based off of the way it's written.
Right, and then it is an actual timeline.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then there's a Dark Tower.
You said he writes about like what he knows, and that is the easiest thing to write about, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, if you're a drunk and you smoke cigarettes, well, then your character is easy to relate if he's drinking and smoking cigarettes too. It's it's easy to get in their mind.
He made a comment about small towns, or I think it's Barlow says this. Says, there is no life here but the slow death of days. It's like, oh, tell us how you really feel.
What are you doing? 'Cause you're clearly not making it any better. Danny Glick is the only corpse we have a marker for.
What does that mean? Oh, because he was the only one that was buried, right? Is that what that means?
Yeah. Yep.
Is that a gravestone? I'm not sure. All the others have disappeared into thin air. Well, right. So if they have a marker for him, does that mean he's in there? I'm not sure.
I think they mean marker, not in a like physical, like this is his gravestone. It's like this is where his body is supposed to be.
Yeah, I have no idea. I love how Jimmy goes to the Glick home and nobody's there or nobody's answering. I'm pretty sure they're in there. So he knocks on the neighbor's door and she's like, "Hey, blah, blah, blah." She tells him the whole
Yeah.
deal. Like, well, what would you do if they were there? Well, talk to the neighbor. And she's just like, forget who's the neighbor. Oh, that's Pauline.
Pauline, yeah.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, she doesn't want to say a word. Well, not all of a sudden, but
Is she in the beginning not wanting to say a word?
yeah, she's one of the.
Oh, I missed that. Yeah, she was a motor mouth.
It said she refused to comment.
And I was always told the Saint Christopher was the patron saint of lost things. So you couldn't find something, you're supposed to wear your Saint Christopher medal. I think he's using it differently. It's like a protection against vampires somehow. My grandma never told me that part.
Oh no, I should stop reading this. This is like we already read it, but I forgot what it says. Henry Petrie and his wife and son are gone.
Where did they go?
Well, I mean, the son is
Mark.
with Ben, is what I was gonna say, and
Where's the parents?
well, this is in the future or in the whatever.
Oh, is the prologue?
The prologue,
The
yeah.
forward log.
Yeah.
Um.
So they definitely die.
Oh, right. So the marker was when they were going to exhume the body. which
Yeah.
Got derailed when they found out that his mom was dead too. And like, oh, we don't need to do that. We can just get a fresh one.
Oh, right.
So I guess they don't have.
But then,
Maybe they don't have a gravestone yet. So the marker's like, here's where it is.
sure. Yeah, I would imagine.
The marker's just like we know where his grave is.
Right.
He's supposed to be in his grave, so if he's not in his grave, there's a bigger problem.
Yeah. And all the other ones, somebody definitely crawled out of.
Then when they went to go try to get, or if they tried to get a sample, then all of a sudden they get this story from Ben and Jimmy Cody that a guy came in and attacked them and stole her body too. It's like, what the hell's going on here? Even if it wasn't vampires, what do you think is happening?
Right. It's like, oh, okay, lock up when you leave.
Like, I've heard of grave robbing before, but that's typically not for the bodies themselves.
Right. Not more grabbing.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. More grabbing. Yeah, so I guess then we have the whole Marjorie Glick. How'd she die? Did she die? No, she jumped out the window or something, right?
Well, I think they said they thought she had a heart attack.
No. I mean, after died a second in the morgue. How did that end? She jumped out the window or something, right?
Yeah, because he holds the cross at her. Same thing. I was like, I couldn't tell if the way it's written, I assume they're just getting like injured and walking away. But like in Charmed, for example, my reference for all things, mythological and demonic, when like they'll do that and then like explode, poof, and be vanquished and disappear. So I wasn't sure if that's what like he was trying to insinuate, but I don't think so. I think they're just getting injured and like leaving.
Yeah, I don't think so, but we haven't seen Danny since Mark's window,
right? No. I don't think so.
So I don't know if he's alive. I'm assuming he's still alive because you usually.
Right.
I'm assuming he's still around. I don't think he's been vanquished or anything. Or
I also wrote that down when he says.
What was the word they used in Firestarter? Situated, sanctioned.
Sanctioned, yeah.
I don't think he's been sanctioned.
When Mike says to Matt, "I will see you sleep like the dead, teacher." I was like, does he mean like dead, or like the new dead of town? Because I don't sleep really.
How do you wake up dead?
I will see you sleep like the
I
dead.
see you sleep like the
Does
dead.
that mean he wants him dead or he wants him as a vampire?
Right, wait, do I still get to wake up in 8-ish hours if I sleep like the dead? Because I would take that deal.
Well, no, the expression sleep like the dead implies you never wake up.
Oh, well, that's not really sleeping.
Well, I guess not technically, but in this sense, I don't know. That's what I'm asking. What does he mean?
Okay.
Eternal sleep.
Yeah, so now Susan's so mad at her mom, she goes for a walk through the woods. And apparently, are we in the? She does it actually in the morning, doesn't she? She just gets knocked out and captured everything.
2 o'clock.
Yeah, well, that's a little late. What did she do all morning? She fought with her mom that long?
She was packing up her stuff.
I like how, oh, that's true. Oh, yeah, moving out and all that. Yeah, that whole drama that means nothing now.
It didn't really feel like anything to begin with.
It seems kind of trite, maybe the word is. Like, oh, right. So she doesn't like her mom and they don't get along. I
Yeah.
feel like I've done this before. Although, to be fair, it's probably the first time he did it. Which,
True.
this
Well,
is
no,
before
Carrie was before this.
Carrie definitely had mom issues. Or, well, mom had issues. I don't know, Carrie. Well, yeah, I guess she definitely had issues too. She did, like, kill the whole high school. But I don't, she's sympathetic. I don't feel bad for Carrie. I mean, I don't feel bad for the people she killed.
Mm.
That's different.
I like how
There's all these. He goes in these paragraph rants to these people. Like when Susan's walking through the woods, she's thinking about all the bad shit that could possibly happen, and she
to a frenzy yet nothing.
actually happened. And I think Ben and Mark both did that at a different point.
That's how fear is.
No, it's great.
And not in this book. Normally it is nothing. That's what makes it even better, is that like sometimes it's nothing, sometimes it is something.
Yeah, you don't know where it's going to end up. Like, are they just working themselves up for no reason, or is it going to be, is it going to be there this time? Because so far it's been there most times. I thought it was Straker when Mark was behind her, and you don't find that out for a little while either.
No, well, that was for some reason I didn't remember exactly who it was, but I remember thinking it's not a bad person. Like,
I actually remember reading that going, because I kind of remember where Susan ends up. Well, I guess that's no secret at this point. So I was like, oh, she's fucked. Here we go. Moving on. And then ended up being Mark, not Straker, and then it was Straker in the next one. So he like tricked me there for a minute. I forgot what I was gonna say. So, yeah, then we got Ben and Jimmy, Marjorie. I have to find a. I did believe he would have done more. So Maury Green is the guy in the morgue, right?
yeah.
He's like, any friend of Jimmy's and so on. Like, wow, you didn't even feel like finishing a sentence, huh? Not sure how serious you are about this terms of endearment. See, and that's the first thing that he says, has she got something infectious? So yeah, maybe you're right. It could be scared for a whole different reason.
Mm-hmm. I
I
mean,
like
it does seem like people are just dropping dead.
he's like, has she got something? Something infectious? And they are like, well, not at the accepted sense of the word. Like, well, that's much worse than yes or no, so I'm out of here either way. The fact that you can't tell me tells me everything I need to know. Her condition, so they're looking at Marjorie and no surface lividity, no sign of rigor or incipient rigor. I don't know the difference. So does that mean, wait, how does that work with a vampire? So the blood's not settling, is it flowing in her?
It
She
just
has
doesn't have
no
blood.
blood because she got eaten, right? How do you become a vampire if they took all your blood? Don't you need that to like get started?
think 13. I don't know.
They're leaving a little bit behind.
Again, it's like if he wanted there to be a rule book, he would have put one in there. So
Yeah,
I don't care as much about that part.
the malleable book.
But again, looking at the timeline, so he's there, at least until after 7, and later because he deal with the police, and then he goes back, and then he passes out. So I think he is just sleeping right now, because
Jimmy or Ben?
Ben, I don't know about Jimmy. He's probably resting in the hospital, but all that Matt says at the end is I've been unable to reach him. He left the hospital with James Cody, and I can't reach him either. And I also can't reach Susan, who left at 2 and said she'd be back by 5. And this is at 7. Or actually, yeah, I think it's around the same time. So maybe he's still. Oh, I think that's what it is. He's still out right now, probably
Jimmy?
dealing with the police, both of them. Because it says Sunday evening, at 6:45.
What time was he supposed to meet Matt? That was the next day at like 2, wasn't it? Or is it?
It was the same day, but so look, on that same Sunday evening, Father Callahan stepped into Matt's hospital room at 6:45. So,
And I think that's where he asked him if he's
so
had
Matt is saying, I haven't been able to reach him. I don't know what's going on,
since 2 o'clock.
because they've been out dealing with Marjorie and the police.
Ben's was ending and Susan's was beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So Ben's. So where? Yeah. So Ben's still.
So I don't think Ben is missing. I just think they don't know what's going on.
He's still dealing with the police.
Yeah.
Getting the
But
story
did
straight.
Matt
Again.
say that he was
so-
dealing with the police? Or does he's not?
He said that earlier, yeah. I skipped ahead like 20 pages, but in his section, after he talks about what happened, then he does the whole, I was at the boarding house drinking my coffee, reflecting on my story to the cop that didn't believe him.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah, and then he's there at Marjorie Glick's body. So
and so remember, they're waiting for the sun to go down, and that doesn't happen until 7:02. And Callahan walks into Matt's room at 6:45. So it's like, they haven't even dealt with Marjorie yet at that point.
okay.
Right.
Wow. Look at you,
But that's-
detective.
The narrator saying that?
No, Matt said that.
But if it hasn't happened yet, then how does Matt know that they're still dealing with the police?
Matt doesn't. Matt thinks they're missing.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying that.
Got it. Okay. That's confused.
Yeah, we were just wondering, like, where's Ben? Why is he like not showing up for Matt's appointments? Like, oh yeah.
Yeah, he just doesn't know what's going on. And Callahan doesn't know either.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking over Susan's part, and she's like, they didn't even tell her to go. They were basically just told her to like stay where she is. And it's not even Susan's part, it's in Ben's part. But she just like decides to go to the Marston house for no good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rebellion was growing inside of her.
You woman, you stay. Let the men handle it. How did she that's okay, so that's how that scene ended. Marjorie just disappeared in a like pillar of smoke,
Yeah.
like a magician. Like, wait a minute. So
Yeah. So they're not
vampires
turning
can do
into
that?
bats or anything. They're just turning into like dust and materializing elf somewhere.
Right. Are
Right, so they can like
teleporting?
and how far can they teleport? See, the rules are changing. Or
And yet they still can't go into a house. It's like, what? Who came up with these rules?
right? What would happen if I went in anyway? They don't ever try.
What happens if you're missing a wall?
Like, what if you like put 1 foot in and take 1 foot out, see what happens? Although I guess if you're who fell out the window, Danny? I guess if you're Danny and you revoke it, then it starts to hurt.
No, that was Mike.
Oh yeah, okay.
Danny was the cross.
Yeah.
No, Mike.
So he revoked it. Yeah, Mike fell out the window. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Matt's house.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 puncture wounds not far from the jugular. One of them horribly mangled. Pretty sure that's Ben's fault.
Wait, what are you reading? What part?
Matt's neck. I'm not Jimmy's neck.
Oh yeah,
Because he yanked her off of him.
yeah.
But I mean, isn't it better to be horribly mangled than to be a vampire?
Yeah.
You know, I don't.
Yes.
I think that depends on the rules for these vampires. Well, first of all, I need to know if Barlow dies, do I die? Because that might be a game changer.
Why?
Because that's putting too much in his. Because I'd be paranoid to make sure he's okay all the time. I wouldn't be able to just go be a happy little vampire because I would be worried about whether he's safe or not.
Yeah, but he's been around. If he's immortal, never mind. I'm not even gonna start.
He's only immortal. That doesn't mean he can't die. It means he's not going to age.
You wouldn't be alive anyway, though. Like, I mean, I guess at this point, but like,
you
give
have
it
consciousness. Well, you know, I don't know. They do seem to be a lot different now.
100.
Maybe it's like zombies where you don't really have the full capacity of your brain, but you got something going on.
I just meant that, like, you shouldn't be immortal to begin with. So the fact that you could die at any time shouldn't scare you. Because you can die at any time now.
Well, yeah. But it's relying on me, not someone else.
Yeah.
I mean, for
The
the most part.
mastermind who's,
Mhm.
survived thousands of years and
That's right.
cultivated a following.
Me or Barlow?
Barlow.
Yeah. That's not nearly as cool. Yeah, and he's Jimmy's telling Benny I had an erection while she was sucking his blood. Like, okay, Stephen King.
Were you Anne Rice?
Yeah. You trying to be erotic here or some shit? Because you don't know how to do that.
When we talk about sex, yes. Erotic, no.
Right. You can show people like getting ready or during. He has a couple of raunchy scenes in some of his books. Yeah, the romance part I think is lost on him, or at least on his characters. Mark has eyes were toad sunning itself on a rock. Not sure how to interpret that.
Yeah, I wasn't. A reptile?
Yeah, not good, right? Susan's like,
or like hypnotized? Like, I wasn't sure what that meant.
Yeah, maybe like the Hypnotoad.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're thinking of?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Susan's like, hi Mark, do your parents know you're here? Really? That's what you care about?
Yeah.
You're going vampire hunting, you're asking if his parents said it was okay? I think it'd be better that they didn't know unless they had to. Oh wait. Didn't you just Oh no, that was in the future prologue. Petrie's are gone, right?
Yeah. Future prologue.
Okay. I mean, I think that's basically it. Susan gets kidnapped, vampired, then she shows up at Mark's window, right?
He didn't kill Straker, right? No. Just
Oh, well, we have Mark's whole, getting caught by Straker, getting hogtied, clenching his muscles so he could get out of it. Nah.
Yeah.
It's kind of weak. I don't doubt that that's something Harry Houdini said that he used to do, but I'm sure there was more to it than that. I don't know. Why not just throw him in a room and like not tie him up?
It's a kid. That's what I'm thinking too. Like that seems like a bit much.
Yeah, like Rapunzel didn't have to get tied up; she just got locked in a tower.
I mean, although
there's nowhere to go.
To be fair, he did catch him trying to kill him, so maybe he's just smart enough to not take chances. Although foolish him didn't know that Mark knows how to get out of those situations.
Yeah, it's almost like, okay, what was the point?
Yeah, I agree.
Why don't you just put him in the room and have him escape the room?
Oh, you don't like the fluff? The fluff is what makes it.
The fluff is what makes it. In the right place.
Your fluff.
I need to direct the fluff. He's like, what are you going to do with me? He's like, trust you like a spring turkey, young master.
Mhm.
Well, no beating around the bush with that guy. Any other questions? Like, I don't think I would ask him anymore. And he says, doesn't Straker tell him something about what Barlow's going to do with him, and then feed you to yours or something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, like, they definitely intend to make him a vampire too.
Wow, I mean that's their thing.
Yeah,
I
so
wonder if Straker's going to be a vampire. Like, is that how it ends for him? Does he become a vampire finally? Like, did he really piss off Barlow? And he's like, no, you can't be a vampire yet. First, you got to spend your life serving me. But
maybe.
you just made that wino in the gutter a vampire. What the hell, man? Everybody but you.
Yeah, all he has to do is like walk past them and like on his like
Yeah.
fang.
Like, oops, sorry about that.
Oh
Damn
no!
it, I made another one.
Yeah.
Like, it happened again. Straker, come here.
Well, and also, like, if you were intending to, like, turn Mark into a vampire, why separate him and Susan in the first place? You can truss them up together and throw them both in the cellar.
Yeah.
Wait, did
I
they get
know.
caught together? Yeah, they were together.
Yeah.
Wait, what
Yeah.
happened to Susan? Oh, we don't know. Oh,
She
right.
was in the basement and he was in an upstairs room waiting.
Oh, right.
for
And then
something.
she's at the window next we see, right?
No, he goes. Yes, right. He calls down into the basement and we hear her scream and
Right. But the next time we see her, she's at the window
yeah.
on the second floor with no ladder marks. Yeah, that was kind of.
And again, like Mark says, I know your name. It's Barlow. Like that is demon lore. Like, do vampires care if you know what their name is? I guess because it helps you learn more about them.
Yeah, like every exorcism ever, you have to get them to say their name.
Yeah.
Like,
They're like,
Rumpelstiltskin.
right. I feel like the demons are smarter than that. I'd be like, no, don't say your name under any circumstance. They're always like, I tricked it into saying his name. Well, demons need to go to like demon school or something and learn how to stop falling for that shit.
Yeah, then we probably wouldn't be here.
Why? Because there's no demons? Wait, what do you mean?
Because then
If they got smarter?
right, like if humans are able to trick demons, it's probably a good thing. You want them to go to demon school and get better?
Did Mark kill
They
Straker?
can check him in Supernatural.
I just asked, like,
Oh, is that what you're talking about?
yeah. Sorry, Allie.
Sorry, Allie, what did you say?
No, I was just like, it makes me think of Supernatural.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Dave tricks demons.
Yeah.
I have that on my list and I haven't been able to get into it yet. I don't know. I always end up with the X-Files.
Yeah, so I was saying, I don't know. I don't think Straker's actually dead. I think he's just very badly injured.
I mean,
Well, no, although, yeah. But you know what? Especially in Stephen King world, if we are not 100% sure, then they could come back.
well, right. Maybe
Yeah,
find
I
it to be a
definitely don't
vampire.
think he's dead.
At least smashed the living shit out of his hand. I guess he didn't hit him again in the head. So he hit him once in the head and he fell. And then he does the same thing. I killed him. Like, and then he grabs his ankle. Like, oops, no, I didn't. Like the worst case scenario happened again.
Yeah, so he's still lying on the ground, opening and closing his hand, basically, when Mark runs away.
Yeah, that's creepy. Like that's why I thought he was dead, because it was like a reflex. He wasn't actually doing it. It was just.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea. But,
Didn't he say something to him as he was leaving, though?
No.
No?
it's you and your little dog too.
Barlow says something.
Child who counts the cost is a child no longer. Kind of. I don't know, man. It's a little judgy. You can be a kid and still understand some consequences. I'll kiss you, Mike. I'll kiss you all over like your mother never did. Like, is that supposed to be enticing? Because you're floating outside my window with big ass vampire teeth.
It's a sexual thing.
And I'm supposed to get so she's a succubus? Wait, they talked about that.
They said that, yeah.
Because I think they got the definition wrong. What did they say? Sexual vampire?
I don't.
I don't think they're vampires. I think they're demons.
Well, it's apparently he's taken lots of liberties, so
Damn it. I guess it's only going to get worse over the next 60 books. So. Like Father Callahan, he looked worn, but not so worn or wearily shocked as most of the parishioners he visited in similar circumstances. Oh, yeah? You've visited parishioners in these circumstances before?
well, after having a heart attack.
I guess that's probably what he meant. I was like, oh, how many times is the town running rampant with vampires?
No, that's exactly what he's talking about because he specifically mentions that Matt doesn't show the same signs that those people show when he sees them usually.
Yeah, I like how he's talking about your body's supposed to be your best friend, and it's rough when you find out that it betrayed you and it didn't do its job. And oh wait, body could be so sluggard as to lie down on the job.
Yeah.
The reaction which followed close on the heels of the first was that a friend who let one down was not worth having. But then, yeah, you're stuck with your body. So I don't know where he was going with that, but it's kind of funny. I guess if you find out I don't know. I've tried to put myself in that headspace. And hopefully, I never have to. But, like my uncle was told he got cancer, so he knew he was dying for like 2 years. Like I was trying to figure out what that would feel like. Like every freaking hour, every time you wake up, it's just a little bit closer to no more, to oblivion. So.
I do think not enough people see it the other way though, is that it like every moment could be your last moment. You never know.
Yeah, but generally nobody believes that.
Exactly, and that's my point. It's definitely. I'm not saying there's not a difference when you're given, for lack of a better word, like a death sentence,
Right, timetable.
right? But in the same frame, you should live your. I'm not trying to get like motivational, but live your life the way you want or to the best that you can every day, and not assume that there's always going to be more time.
Yes. I mean, yeah, today could be my last day, but I don't, walk outside assuming that I'm not waking up tomorrow. You don't really believe that.
That's my point.
But then when I think
I'm
it's
not
different.
saying you should believe that. That's like, no mind.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wasted enough time. You should definitely live every moment for sure, because you don't know when your last one is. I agree with that. It's more of a in the distance feeling than a in your face feeling. And your death exists back there somewhere. You don't really. Well, once you turn 40, I thought about it all the time for a while.
It's the same thing. Unfortunately, you see a lot in crime documentaries where they're like, I just never imagined it would happen like to my partner or my sister or my daughter.
I think that when I watch those, like ID, I'm like, damn, that's messed up. And they're like, we never thought. Like, I'm sitting here watching it going, I would never imagine that would actually happen to me. There's no way I could, like, be like, what would I do? And so I put a big ass knife next to my head.
Did you really?
Remember the one I bought the Renfest like 3 years ago? It was like this big and it has a handle on it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't ever want to have to use it, but man, that's a cool knife. Wish I could use it on something. So I should get my point.
I think we're pretty much at the end.
Yeah.
We're talking about Callahan and Matt not being depressed.
Right now, yeah, Callahan's now talking about anything unusual. Well, is a lot of dead people unusual? Well, I'm not sure that qualifies. But yeah, it doesn't matter if Callahan believes Matt, because Callahan only has to believe that Matt believes it, so he has to deal with it that way. So he has to act like it's really there. Like they said, sexual vampire. I wrote no. I knew that was in here somewhere. Okay, I think we're good. You think Callahan? No, that's a question for Amber. Still believes? I don't remember.
Believes in God?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. He says that. He says, like when Matt asks him to help him, basically, he's like, I may not be the best priest, but I still take this divine power seriously. And
oh yeah, that was kind of shocking coming from him.
That's what I was saying. Like I'm not used to seeing this Callahan. Let me just say that Callahan.
Like, look, you make me invoke the church, then this shit's for real. You understand that, right?
Right. It's like, we're
I'm
gonna
not
call
just
on the big boys now.
right. I'm not just playing. I'm doing it because you're asking me, and I believe that you believe nonsense anymore. Now you're asking me to bring in the big guns,
Like God.
right? Freud changed the concept of evil for religion for the church.
I really like that. I'm not gonna lie, where it went from like demons to just like everything is a sin.
I didn't know it took that long. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, so wait, yeah, so there's no sins before Freud?
Well,
They just didn't.
definitely not. Yes, because like
Yeah, I'm not sure what that.
I don't even know if I would necessarily like I'm not talking about the Freud part. I just like that observation and that like we kind of had shifted from this like perception of evil with a big E being otherworldly and supernatural and witchy or
Yeah,
whatever.
I like the evil with a cat with a small e.
And then
yeah.
move to the evil with the small e, which is, you know, adultery and judgment and I don't know.
Depends on how far back in the Bible you go. You could get stoned to death for adultery, and then they'd have to give you all their sheep. What's Shylock's bargain? Anybody? I never looked that up either.
No.
Don't know.
Oh,
I
he
understand.
says it right there. To extract a pound of flesh without spilling a drop of blood.
Okay, doesn't really tell me what happened. But I did read that part.
Sounds like a Saw thing.
Right?
Trap.
You can get out if you want to, bad enough. God isn't dead, only a little senile. Well, that's much more terrifying.
Yeah.
Um, he looked into the moving darkness. I like that.
This whole book is so much of you can tell it's written for like the rational adult because it's rational adults telling other rational adults that they're not crazy and that this is what they're really seeing and like this is the only explanation and like it's not scientific and whatever.
I don't think he bothers with the rationalization much anymore. It's just like this is what it is. So
yeah, it's so interesting to see that. Or like you spend all this time convincing people you're not crazy, and it's like in other stuff, in other stories, they see enough to understand.
yeah. Well, terror he felt was for his immortal soul. Oh, you're just getting started.
He has no idea.
Yeah. Okay. I guess that's it. Anybody got anything?
Part 3 is the deserted village. I wonder what that's
I
about.
just saw that. So I guess it's gonna get worse, huh? Yeah. Everybody good?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Everybody say bye.
Bye.
Bye.